Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Above the Bar podcast. It's your host, Sean. We have bellied up to the bar. It is the last day of July, the 31st, and I didn't post this on Facebook. Maybe I'll post it later. As pretty much at this point, unless the world goes to hell in a handbasket in the next 4 hours, at the end of today, Uncle Sam can no longer legally call me back. I am 10 years retired as of today, and that is as far back that they can get you. So why not talk to somebody who I don't even know if she knows that I've known her husband longer than I've known her. I don't know if she realizes that, but that's who I met first, was her husband. But that being said, I kind of like her better. I'm just tell him that, but I kind of like her. So joining us from about 20 miles up the road from me, it's Miss Denise Horan.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I think you're the first person from our hour to be on.
Oh my gosh, that makes me special.
You are special. And now we can have like all kinds of inside jokes and things like that the others won't. They were invited to come listen to us because some of them I'm friends with on Facebook. They were invited to come hang out with us. We'll see who shows up, but
see who comes. Okay, great.
But we are talking today about one of my favorite topics. If you've listened to plenty enough shows, you know I love sales. I think sales is the best thing in the world. I will always stand on my head and tell you that sales is the career path that makes the world go around. Nothing you do, folks, guess what? Not your doctor, not your lawyer, not the pen in your pocket exists with any need if somebody didn't sell it. You can have the greatest product in the world, but if you don't have somebody that can sell it, it'll sit on the shelf forever. So Denise is going to talk to us today about her book, Stories from the Sales Force, Navigating a Sales Career in a Post-Pandemic World, which I've already started reading, and it's great already. I love that it's done in a story style, because if you know anybody who's in sales, we have squirrel brains. We need to finish a task and move on to the next one, and we'll be explaining to you why things work that way for us. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how she got into it. But before we do that, we've always got to pay the bills. Some of you guys may know Cody Wassel and the Cody Factor. Well, she's got a new program, and we'll be putting up the link on our Facebook page after this. She says, ready to reimagine, redefine, and evaluate your life? Join the Evaluation of Men, a transformative men's group led by Cody Wassel of the Cody Factor. The program is designed to help you awaken your authentic self and lead a legendary life. With weekly calls and personalized one-on-one sessions, you'll master emotional balance, enhance your communication skills, and grow into a better, wait a second, you ready? Grow into a better lover for yourself and your partner. Hey now.
Wow.
Plus I don't even like one personalized, like how does that work if you're doing personalized one-on-one sessions? And then I'm gonna get like, Cody, we got to talk about this. Like your ad copy, I should have read it again. But plus you'll gain tools for career success, financial stability, and true self-discovery. Apply now. And I'll put that link up there for the evaluation. She's also offering for anyone interested a 25% off for the first attendee. Attendees will get 25% off, and the code is going to be, we'll put that code up. It's EOM and then GUEST guest. So EOM guest 25, you'll get 25% off. I've known Cody for a couple of years now. I will tell you that this is going to be pretty impressive. She does a lot with women's groups and women's retreats where they go up to some of the lakes here around the capital region, and have done some pretty impressive things. So I highly, highly recommend for you to check out what she's got going on. Oh, look, Jeanette Shees. Jeanette, there you are. I missed you, Jeanette. So make sure you're checking out what she's got going on. But also we got to talk about our other sponsors. We got Budget Blinds of East Greenbush and Budget Blinds of Hudson and Coxsackie, New York. They are your largest window treatment company in the North America. and your local window treatment company. They're specializing in everything from blind, shades, drapery, you name it. If it can go on a window, they'll do it for you. They've even got tint. That's a new thing, Denise. Tinting your windows. People don't up north don't understand this. If you live in the South, you tint your windows in your house. Up here, people don't get it. So they'll even do that with you. So make sure you're reaching out to Budget Blinds of East Greenbush and Budget Blinds of Hudson and Cooksaki, New York. You let them know you're there to belly up to the bar, and they're going to give you 15% off your entire order. Once again, that's Budget Blinds of East Greenbush and Budget Blinds of Hudson and Cooksaki, New York. And the last thing, Denise, are you a football fan?
I am, but I'm a Buffalo Bills fan.
That's a lot of how do Buffalo Bills fans do it every season? Like do they issue like Prozac or some kind of like a helpline for you guys? Because I mean, there is no team I've ever seen over my years of what I'm 48 now. So I've been watching football since I was like 6 or 7 that I can remember it like real well. Like I remember the Colts leaving Baltimore, and I've never seen a city to have such great teams and just not get it done.
Yeah, there's some kind of loyalty factor that goes on there. The Bills Mafia,
it's bad.
Never wavers.
Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad.
Well, they keep saying next year.
Yeah,
next year.
Right.
It's been going on forever.
Maybe they should call Cody and they could talk to Cody and they can get their 25% off using that code EOM guest 25. They could talk to her and she could help them through mastering an emotional balance, because right now they are tearing up their fans emotionally, tearing them up.
Yes.
But that all being said, this is our big board for Sticker and a Cause. If you've got something you support, something you believe in, something that you've got going on, you can reach out to us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, our website, theabovethebarpodcast.com, and even our email is theabovethebarpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know what it is. Maybe you wrote a sales book and you have stickers for it. We could talk about it. We could get Rose. We should get Rose, and Rose's stick. Rose should have a sticker. And it could be like a flower, a rose with a little book sticking out of it.
Yeah, and Rose's book is hysterical if you haven't read it.
Some folks, if you want a good morning to wake up, we'll tell you how to get onto our hour with us and just laugh at some of the things that we all deal with. But make sure you reach out to us, and we got Sticker and a Cause, and we can make this happen, folks. So, all right, Denise, all that's done. All the work is done. It's time to talk about you, talk about this book. I got to tell you, you know what? One of the fun things for me was when I got your book was looking at the back of it and seeing the people that wrote things about it and going, I know that person. Oh, and I know that person.
Oh, that's great.
So I know Jim Sweet. I know Jim. And I obviously know Lauren. So I was like, oh, look at that. I know those people. So let me make sure I got your backstory right. So you grew up in the Lakes area, in the Great Lakes area or Lakes area. Finger Lakes. That's it. You can tell I ain't from here. Grew up in the Finger Lakes area, grew up with a sales family. And it sounds like they kind of had that Zig Ziglar mindset of everybody here, no matter what your job is, you're a salesperson. That was kind of the mindset, right?
Yep. Sales and entrepreneurship. So
you grew up with that your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that going on. You did all these things, but you weren't like sales was never it. You were going to go be a doctor or something.
Yeah.
What kind now, and folks, all these things we're talking about, they're all inside of Denise's book, and you can find what she's got going on DeniseHoran.com or salesclubusa.com. We'll talk about what that is here in a moment also. But what kind of doctor were you going to be? I'm very curious because you never really say.
So I went to college as a pre-med major.
Mm-hmm.
And in my almost last year, I had a really bad time in an emergency room where I was an intern. It was a bad night. And then my rat colony got loose one day. And I was like, what am I doing? This was crazy. So I decided I didn't want to go to med school.
Well, is that what you wanted to be, like an ER surgeon or something?
Yeah, I thought so, but somebody should have shaken me up and said, "Why don't you just be a dermatologist?"
Listen, that's a good one. Like that.
Right?
So it's funny you say that. So I can't tell you how many Navy doctors that would like treat us while I was in the Marine Corps were like, yeah, I'm trying to intern over at Dermo. I'm like, why? And they
It's
would
easy.
explain, well, it's not even easy. What they would explain to me is most dermatology appointments are not insurance covered. So
Right.
they can charge whatever they want to charge for somebody to come in there because most things are considered as elective.
Right.
I'm like, really? They're like, oh yeah, that's where all the money's at because most things are elective. I was like, damn, I didn't know that one. So,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work out, and you decide. So, if dad was in your ear.
Oh, Dad was in my ear, okay, because he had to pay a lot of money for me to go to a good pre-med school. And he's like, "What are you going to do?" I go, "I don't know. I guess I'll go get a master's," because the economy was bad. I'm like, "What am I going to do with myself?" So I came here to Albany, to UAlbany, and got an MBA in marketing. And I like halfway through the MBA, they were like, "You got to get some work experience." I'm like, "I've been working since I'm 9,"
Right.
but that wasn't good enough for them. So I decided to I was looking for a flexible job so I could finish my graduate work. So I found this sales job that was straight commission. My boss was in New York City.
Now, can I
And it
pause you for a
was,
second? I got to ask a question real quick.
mhm.
So, most people are scared to death of straight commission.
Oh, I know. It's the best job in the world.
Please tell people why. I try to explain this to my children. My father was like this. My father was like, commission. Give me. I don't
Yeah.
want your paycheck. You can
Yes.
keep your paycheck. I want my commission. Can you
Right.
explain this? Why?
Because, I mean, there's no ceiling. It's all up to you. You do your thing and you make a mint and you don't have to stop.
There's
And
no
if you
limit.
want to take some time off, take some time off. Whatever you want to do. You're kind of it's really up to you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, most straight commissions, when you look at the percentage that you make off of that sale,
Yeah.
it's way more than you'll ever make gaining a paycheck. Am I wrong?
Exactly. It's the best job, It
And
really
folks,
is.
if you're just joining us and you're jumping on with Denise and I, and you have questions about sales, you've either had some sales stories where you tried to get into sales and it didn't work out for you, and you're curious. Maybe you're looking now to say, "Hey, I'm looking to make a career change. Maybe sales is the way for me to go," and you just don't know how to approach it. Please give us your questions right now. So you take on this sales job. It's straight commission. It's got the flexibility to finish your master's. How does that go for you?
So my boss I went to school at night, worked in the day, and my boss was crazy entrepreneur. He was awesome. He would call me at 10 o'clock at night to ask me how my day went because I didn't get out of school until like 9 or 9:30.
Oh, wow.
So, but he was totally into this brand new company, was $5 million, and he was putting everything he had into it. And all he said was go out and meet the whole entire city. Look at me. I talk to strangers.
Yes. That's a whole different, but I think it's a whole different topic though, Denise, that you talk to strangers.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. I mean, or maybe that's how I've met you is you just from this job, I just talk to strangers.
I do. I sat on a lot of bar stools now that I'm looking at them on the screen, meeting people and just trying to find business. And also, it became not a job, it was a lifestyle.
Yes.
It was great. I made this big circle of friends. I made tons of contacts. So I ended up that I graduated, I got an MBA, and my father was like, "Oh, okay. So what kind of job are you going to look for?" And I'm like, Sorry, Dad, I'm not leaving.
Oh, really? He was like, how did he take that when you were like, nope, I'm here, I'm good?
Yeah, that was like a definite conversation, but he was in sales in his days also, so he couldn't really say anything, and he knew it was great. So I did ask my boss for a management job, and he ended up letting me open new territories and build a team. And my favorite thing, and which is kind of not what management is always like, I would go out with my people all the time.
That's what you're supposed
So, yeah, you are, but a lot of managers don't do that. They don't go out and support their people and join in the fun and do that. People need that, especially young people.
Mm-hmm.
They need to know they have somebody with them and somebody to support them.
That's awesome. I had a guy Brad Lang, we worked together in the Marine Corps. This is such a Marine Corps thing. We called him Big Head Brad, because he had a big ass head. But Brad was the guy who said this to me. He goes, you can't expect anything from anyone until they've seen you do it. Now, I'm just curious, with you going out, was that kind of your approach? Like, hey, look, you may have been doing this for 6 months, but I'm gonna do it because you haven't seen me do this thing. How was your approach with going out with people?
Well, it's a way of training. And I would often ask people, do you want me to speak at the appointment or not? Because obviously when we get back in the car, we can discuss the call. But if they want me to chime in and join in the conversation, that's fine too. I wasn't looking to make them uncomfortable.
That's awesome. Now, how many did most people want you to kind of like chime in, like, yes, please, I want your experience, or was it no, like, hey, stay back, take notes, tell me how I'm doing?
Yeah, most of them wanted me to join in the conversation. The ones that have been around, as time went on and have been around for a while were okay doing it their way. But, younger people especially, or if they were stuck, they would look at me. And my rule of thumb is the best thing in the world you can do is just ask a lot of questions.
1,000%.
Make a conversation. You're there to solve a problem. You're not there to sell.
100% agree with that. Now, one of the quotes at the beginning of your book is from Zig Ziglar, and I'm a big Zig Ziglar guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love his stuff. Is that where you got that? Because I feel like I've heard him say that, like, hey, just ask a lot of questions, constantly ask questions. Who were you gaining? And the reason I ask that is, who were you did you get any formal sales training, or was it just the boathouse and the marina and like, hey, we're just going to go?
No, actually, it's funny you ask that because I've probably been to every kind of sales training and every speaker you could imagine.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I would take pieces of what I liked. So now as a consultant and a coach and a trainer, I designed everything custom, and I take what I like in sales and use that material. But I had a tremendous boss, and he was a sales guy, and I worked in the family business that was sales. So I sold cable when I was in high school. Knocking on doors.
Oh, really? See, listen, folks, if you want real sales, there is nothing more humbling than doing just going to somebody's door and be like, is your money there?
Yeah.
I used to do that with Marine Corps recruiting. Johnny, I'm the recruiter. You got a moment to talk? And I can't tell you how many times people are like, yeah. Goodness. So I'm curious. So I want to stay with that for a second. See, Denise, folks, listen, go get Denise's book. DeniseHoran.com,
Thank you.
salesclubusa.com.
Or go to Amazon or whatever.
Amazon. You can find her on LinkedIn, Denise Horan, Horan. Go on there and talk to her. She's very approachable, because these are you learn things sales wise that I always say, and I don't blame today's generation for not doing it. It's they're told, oh, you don't have to, but
Right.
that door knocking process of just and going, let me introduce myself. Can you think of anything in a sales process scarier, more humbling, or that will hype you up if it's successful than that?
Yeah, I think nowadays people are afraid. I knock on a door, I could get shot. And I
This is
mean,
very true.
no offense. It's a lot better to take that literally and apply it to, a phone call or, an event where you walk up and you introduce yourself. There's a lot of ways to do it now that probably are a little safer. Although I think I think the average person is a good person. It's just, I don't want to be the coach that gets somebody hurt,
I'm with you, but really, I mean, such a humbling experience
Yes.
to just be like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Let's talk. And especially if it's something they never even thought about.
Yep, exactly.
So
Exactly.
you were doing that for 12 years working for somebody else.
Yes, I was.
And all of a sudden you're about to be mom,
No, well, actually there was some before.
Oh, was there some before? Okay.
So I worked for two guys that were partners, and they were the crazy entrepreneurs. And I worked for, let's just say, the one who sat in New York City.
Okay.
He was amazing. He gave me my promotions. He was always there for me, even at 7 in the morning or 10 at night. It didn't matter. And when I got promoted to the very top, they kind of oversaw like different parts of the business. So after 10 years, I got moved to the other owner, who I very much liked. But I think he was, it sounds a little cocky, but I think he's a little jealous of me. My team really liked me and we did really well. And I think he kind of, wanted my job, I felt like. I mean,
he was one of the owners?
Yeah.
That's weird.
It was a weird feeling, and maybe I misinterpreted it. And I thank them every day. They taught me a ton. So it wasn't a big problem, but I parted looking for another job. And while I was looking, I was networking, because that's what we do. We call all of our clients. Hey, I'm looking for a new opportunity. And people started giving me projects. Hey, while you're home, can you come in and talk to my team, or can you come in and train? So I started doing that. I got busy. So that went on for a couple of years. Then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I might as well try this. I found myself pregnant after 11 years of marriage. I was like, you know what? I really got to get a grip. I need to get this life thing together. So anyway, it was great. And so I've been on my own now for a long time, over 25 or about 25 years.
Do you love it? Do you love running the show? Isn't it nice? It's
great.
And we'll talk a little bit about that. From over on Twitch, Brummelstein asked, Sean, are you a good salesman? Yes. I'm going to tell you right now. Yes. And if you're in that sales world, I did very well in recruiting in the Marine Corps. I own my own company where I do sales every day. I actually personally, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Denise, I like it when somebody refers to me as a salesman or a salesperson or whatever. They're like, you're a hell of a salesman.
Yeah. That's a compliment.
I think it is, because it means I know my product. I understand how to answer your questions. I understand what you're looking for, and I can answer those questions and not stumble over them. Interesting question, Brumelstein. Are you better than Denise? I wouldn't be a good salesperson if I didn't tell you yes. And if you ask Denise the same question, she would tell you she's better than me. But that also goes back to, and she might be the GOAT. She might be the greatest of all time. But I'll tell you right now, I look at sales like this. I've never sold what she sells.
Right.
She's never sold what I sell.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly believe if you're a great salesperson, give me 2 weeks. I just got to get some product knowledge.
Right.
Once I have that product knowledge, I'm golden. And I'm curious how you feel about that. If, like, for true salespeople, is that really all we need, is good, strong product knowledge?
You know, Sean, I can't believe you just brought this up. My pet peeve when I'm dealing with my clients, and I am so right there with you, is they're like, oh, we need to hire somebody with industry experience. I'm like, no, you need to find the best salesperson.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what they sold. They can learn anything, number one. And second of all, you don't necessarily want to bring in someone with bad habits.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes. Like Henry Ford used to talk about this. Henry Ford, when he was really getting the Ford industry going, did not hire people who understood the product. He would go find great salespeople and let them learn the product. So that's what I would tell you there, Brumelstein, is it's really I just know that I'm great at sales. I always have been. My father, I would tell you right now, and I've spoke about this on the air, my father is by far the greatest salesperson I have ever known, bar none. He was good enough that he, like Sears, remember when Sears was like, he was a commission salesperson at Sears.
Oh, nice.
And retired from Sears. And Sears used to, it was either 3 or 4 years straight, Sears sent him to the Bahamas, to St. Thomas. My one son has my father's gold Hamilton watch that says Sears Brand Central in it. He won those trips enough that they stopped sending him.
Right. That's great, though. Wow.
And I mean, when you think about that, and he was in what they called a C store, which was the smallest of the department stores that they had, and he sold washers and dryers and appliances, fridges. So that's what I would, when I think of the greatest, I think of my old man, and he taught me, and I'd love to get your feedback on this, because I do think Denise, and folks, go check out Denise's books, go check out what she's got going on. If you have other questions, please send them to us. If you're liking what you're, make sure you're hitting thumbs up and you're sharing this around to your social media. But my dad used to say this, and I still believe this: you can sell anything to anyone as long as they feel they're getting a deal. And he wasn't saying in a sense like, son, you can go ahead and scam them right at it. He just was like, make sure they understand that you're doing the best you can for them. And if they feel that way, they'll work with you. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, if you're solving because timing's everything too.
100%.
If you're solving a problem and you're making them feel like the most important client, and that's exactly what you're saying, I think.
Yes.
And, and they feel really good and they trust you. They need to trust you. So
there it is. So, staying with this. So you're 25 years into all this. You're on your own for all this time. I don't know how you've been in it for 25 years if you're only 35 years old. I mean, but that's impressive. However you made it happen.
Thank you.
I know. Look, my daddy didn't raise no fools.
That was charming.
But so where does this all, you're seeing this, and I had stepped out of sales before the pandemic. I was working for Amtrak. So I was very customer service oriented in sales in a different way. But I'm curious, what was, in the book is navigating a sales career in a post-pandemic world. What was that like as you saw, for salespeople, the walls start falling around them? Like, what was that like?
I, I'd love to just take a step backwards. So I've reinvented myself quite a bit over 25 years, trying to find the right clients, the right stuff. And I wanted to, really kind of do like high level coaching, all in sales or leadership. And one of my goals was to write a book, and it had to have been the hardest thing I ever did. I am obviously verbal, not a writer.
I appreciate everything. Listen, Denise, this is a conversation that people are eavesdropping on between you and I.
Oh, I know.
Everything you're saying.
So I hired a book coach to hold me accountable because I kept putting it aside. And guess what? And you'll love this. I finished the book a week before the shutdown for the pandemic.
Oh, wow. So the first week of
March. And I knew the world was going to change. I actually was with my sales club at a luncheon, and we were making jokes that we were shutting down in 5 days and we were getting 2 weeks off. That was what everyone thought.
Right.
But I called the publisher and I said to the publisher, I cannot hand you this book yet. And they're like, why? You're not done? I'm like, I'm finished, but I need to rewrite the end. And they're like, what do you mean? I go, the world's going to change. I said, just watch.
Wow. So you had the vision of it.
Oh, like I knew that we were not going back to work in 2 weeks. So I have never in my life, I'm not very good at technology, as you know.
No.
But I have never had to learn so much in a week's time. Because remember, we all went to Zoom.
Yep.
We had to really use our cell phones. We had to investigate how we're going to find our clients, on LinkedIn. How are we going to reach them? They're not at their desks.
No.
So all these salespeople that I was coaching and all the salespeople in my sales club were, calling me. What now? What? How am I going to make my goals? What am I going to do? What an experience it was.
So you talked about the Zoom and everything. Do you think how much of, so you saw all the little things that were we're going to do, we have the networking on this, we have virtual happy hour, we have virtual teams meetings, we, all these different things. What do you think are some of the things from a sales standpoint that, hey, it's awesome that we have this tool now, we use this regularly, and what are some of the things that you're like, this has been abused and it needs to go away now?
I absolutely think this might have been, there were some good things about COVID. COVID obviously wasn't good, but some of the things that we did just to move forward at a high speed, we now have the options. And so, the option to be virtual, the option to go out on a call. There's so many tools that we have. We have technology coming out the ears. We do. I mean, it's
you're 100% right. Absolutely.
Right? So now it's that. So what I have done, and I really find the virtual world allows you to sell anywhere, generally speaking. So I find that to be an opportunity. So I would only maybe be able to sell in the capital region because I wasn't going to go visit clients in another state. Now I can coach online anywhere.
That's right? A great point. Yeah.
So what I did after I wrote the book was I started salesclubusa.com. Actually took me way longer than I thought it was. I thought it was going to be 3 months. I'll set up this really nice, platform where everybody can jump on and go to workshops, go to virtual networking, join a club, whatever, they read stuff, resources. It took me over a year actually to get it going. And it's only been launched about 6-7 months now. But I have guest speakers every week virtually on there. I have some in-person clubs. I have a weekenders club. We'll be in Lake Placid in September. And anyone's invited. Hop on to salesclubusa.com. If you're a member, most stuff's free. And if you come on as a guest, you pay a small fee. Not for everything. There's still a lot of free stuff. And so what I did was I did that so that those people that want to sell virtually can, or they want to expand their territory, they can.
And see, I love that. I love that idea that, I mean, it's funny when you talk about territory. Being a franchise owner, I'm very limited in
Right.
where I'm allowed to go. And I can't tell you how many times somebody from out of state has said to me, "Hey man, can you?" And I'm like, "No." And then when you mention that freedom to sell nationally, I can't imagine if I had a sales team still with me, just being like, "Hey, I need research on whatever it is. Like, hey, I need research on growth areas, on companies coming in. What's the top grow area? All right, that's you. Start calling, because I don't need you anymore. I don't have to be like, all right, so go ahead and get your Rand McNally map out. Make sure you've mapped out where you're driving today. Like, you remember those days? Do you remember those days? Like, let me map out my trip today. So
I know, but think about when we're on the virtual screen, it's very productive from a time standpoint.
yes.
It might not be as touchy-feely. But let's just say you have a regular client, you've met, you've established a relationship. If you have to talk about something additional, jump on the screen for 10 minutes instead of get dressed, get in the car, go to the appointment, come home. So this way you can decide, what do you want to do in person? What do you want to do via technology?
Well, we had somebody today on our call, and so, folks, Denise and I get on a call every Wednesday together. We don't miss too many of them, but we had somebody on today, and she was saying that she was like, "Hey, I'm dressed from here up."
Yeah.
And we laughed about that, but I understood what she meant. Like, hey, I don't have to overdo it. Now, the other side to that, though, and you mentioned like, hey, if it's somebody you've established a relationship, you've gotten into it, there's all these different techniques for getting in front of people. But what I wanted to, actually, I have two questions. See, this is my drug right here. So before we get, we're going to do one other one before we get to that one. So what would you recommend? Because there's people out there that are going to see this and they're going to say, well, how do I even get into sales? Why would I get into sales? How do I start into sales?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anywhere that you would say, hey, if you can, I know back in the day it used to be, hey, if you can go work for Xerox, go work for Xerox. I know, folks, that's a real company. Go work for Xerox, and they have the world's best sales training program. They'll teach you everything. Is there anywhere that you would recommend today, or a course that somebody could take that you think, hey, this will build a basic foundation for you to create your style from?
Well, you know what? There's a lot of sales training out there. There's like almost too much.
Yes.
So if you think of all the trainers that have been around for 20 years or more, some of them, and then now you're lucky you can do a lot of self-development on your own. So think of all the wonderful sales podcasts out there, and some of them have really taken off, and they have small dose lessons. So when I coach people, I don't like to do anything longer than an hour. I feel like people have ADD. They don't retain anything. So like when I set up a coaching or even a small training with a group of people, I'm like, okay, we're breaking this into 1 hour topics. So when they walk out, they haven't lost everything, because 8 hours, man, you're going to lose a lot.
You have I've done those days.
Yeah. So there are a lot of ways to get training and coaching. And that's the other reason I put this platform up. I have all kinds of articles, videos, all small dose learning.
easy bite size stuff. And folks, if you're just
Exactly.
joining us, that's on Denise's site,
Yep.
salesclubusa.com.
Yep.
You can see what's going on. You can see what they have happening. Personally, I'm going to recommend it to you. Go on, check it out. Denise can throw things at me. Buy like one thing and check it out. And if you like it, then go buy the whole program. Just buy one thing and be like,
just hop on with us.
Yeah, there you go. Hop on and be like, oh, and then you can see it, and then you can be like, well, why don't I have the whole thing? Because I don't have to buy one of these other big programs. I have one that's right here, and it's got all those pieces to it. Because Denise has done it for 37 years of sales.
Yeah.
She's been doing it. Guess what? You're not gonna. And guess what, folks? Sales is. Here's what sales is a wall. It's a wall. It's not the wall that matters. It's each individual brick. And sales is each time you train, each time you sell, each time you work with somebody, you're building bricks into that wall that is you stopping that person from falling off and missing that they have a problem that you can solve. You are that protection. And if you don't believe me, listen, there are some amazing ideas out there. Denise,
there are.
Denise,
I mean, don't you think?
How many great ideas have you seen? How many truly great ideas have you seen?
There are so many great ideas, and there's so many great strategies, and there's so many things. But I'm going to ask you a question because I know you're going to agree with me. Sales is one of those things that you can't learn it and then just push it aside.
No.
It's total self-development. It's also motivation, not getting stale, loving what you do, being able to relate to people, and also being very knowledgeable about what's going on around you. Because salespeople have to know like everything about a business if they're good. So, when I have speakers on, I have leadership, management, HR people. I have all kinds of people hoping the more knowledge and the more interesting they are and the more helpful they are, the better salespeople they'll become.
100%. And folks, if you are an entrepreneur and you're checking this out and you're like, well, I don't know about sales. Who you should send to sales training? Send your receptionist to sales training.
Yeah.
Send your if you have like a service related jobs, send all your service techs to sales training. And if you think I'm crazy, listen to me. And Denise, back me up here if one way or another. But those are the people that are the first line of communication with, and they're the ones who are going to say, hold on 1 minute. We'll be right there to satisfy your needs. Whatever it is, they're going to speak in a way that from the minute they get on the phone or to the last thing they do, they're being sold. Your service guy, as he's walking out the door, should be somebody going, hey, before I leave, do you need me to fill in the blank? I can do that right now.
Right.
And Randall, 100%.
It's right. Or have them come back to the office, say, I see another opportunity there. Do we want to have somebody call them?
Right.
Right.
Yes. I mean, and it's never ending. Sales should feel like it's a never ending process. Like it should just always feel like things are happening, things are going on in that. Like, I love sales. I'm so addicted.
And Randall's right. It's all about communicating. It's about relationship building. It's really bonding with your client.
Now we're getting close. We're getting close to closing the bar here, folks. You have questions and everything, and it drives me nuts. Like this is something I can talk about every day.
People, hours.
My wife says, well, why don't you just do a show just about sales? I'm like, because I don't want to, because I want to learn about everything else. Because I am a salesperson, so I want to know everything else so I can have a conversation with people about other things. Yes. Because there's so many different styles of salespeople that are out there. I'm a very much I'm a rapport salesperson. I'm 100% rapport.
Good.
I'm the guy who I want to sit down with you. I want to get to know you. I want to tell you about me. I want to feel like we have an emotional connection to each other and then be like, oh, by the way, let's talk about this problem. Because I feel like we communicate better.
Absolutely.
That's me.
You totally hit it right on the nose.
But what I'm curious of is how do you work with when you have somebody that says, hey, Denise, we need you to come in. We need sales training. We need coaching and counseling for our sales team. They're just not good. Like, you had to have had that. You had to have had somebody be like, they're just not good. Like, how do you approach that?
Yes. So, it's really a combination. For me, I have to put on my consulting hat in the beginning, and I've got to ask a lot of questions. Tell me about what your company is like. What are they selling? How are they compensated? What motivates them? Who manages them? So all of that really needs, I need to know that to be best. And then if they're just untrained salespeople, then I can take them on for some small coaching or, things like that. Or I can do a, lunch and learn training or an hour or two. Like I said, small doses.
Now, have you ever?
But I need to know a lot of information because the underlying problem isn't that someone's bad. It's they don't have the resources or the support to be good.
Support.
Right.
Like it's not like those folks. Like if you're a trainer, and if Randall's still around, he might remember these days. Like you can't just walk in and look at somebody. There's days of like dropping the phone book on the table and being like, "Get to calling, bub."
Exactly.
Like those days are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like today's generation expects like, you've got a training program for me. You've got KPIs that I need to be hitting. You've got processes that I need to be doing. Oh, wait a sec. I'm having problems. Why are you not calling me back into the office and having a coaching and counseling session with me to show me where my shortcomings are? What is my foundational training? I'm a very anti-ism guy. If you just, I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm very anti-ism. I'm very trained to foundational stuff.
Right.
That can always, I think in sports terms, like, if you know how to throw a ball and the guy starts throwing it wrong, you can go back to his mechanics and be like, let's throw the ball right. Here's the foundational stuff. I heard all these different things that you're saying, but is there any, like, do you have I used to
process?
Like my process was pesos. I don't know if you've ever heard of pesos before, but I use the pesos process.
Oh, no. I'm not sure I have.
PESO stands for prepare, explain, show, observe, supervise.
There you go.
So you sit down with someone, you prepare them for what they're going to be doing. You explain what it is. You show them how to do it. You observe them doing it. And then you supervise to make corrections on that.
Yep.
So PESOs, prepare, explain, show, observe, supervise.
I think a lot of people, including myself, believe sales is definitely process driven. Because you can see where people drop the ball. Let's just say that they're learning, but then they don't follow up or they don't practice or you know what I mean? So It is a process driven thing. But I told you, I'm like totally into customizing now because some people are in a sales cycle that takes years. Some are in a sales cycle that takes hours. So you need to learn all that before you can actually train them on the correct process. And what tools?
Denise, listen, whoever, Bromelstein, if you're around, if you dropped me into a sales cycle that was a year-long sales cycle, these ones where these people do like, hey, we put a bid in, we might not hear back for 6 months to a year, whether or not we got the job, and I couldn't do it. I think you may have found something just now, Denise. You may have just found the one thing in a sales process that I'm not built for.
Well, just think of that long sales cycle like a banker.
Yeah.
They've made a relationship, but nobody's done a merger or bought a piece of equipment for 5 years. You're like, how do you train them to make sure that you're still in the mind of the prospect? Because you still need to be in front of them, even though they're not going to buy anything for 3 years. I know. It's not my style either.
Like at my neck, I'm starting to twitch and I gotta stretch my neck. Like I can't. Like I'm definitely like I'm. I used to drive me nuts because so Randall and I did the same sales in the Marine Corps, and he's talking about he wanted his guys to be proficient when they had to qualify a prospect.
Right.
So just shut up and dial annoyed him. Like he that was like a thing where guys would be like, shut up, I don't want to hear that. Just dial the phone. Like, no, I can't.
No. It's quality, not quantity.
Every time.
And Randall's right. I mean, you need to focus on what's important. And those managers that are still smile and dial, it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
It's done. Those days are done.
Yes.
Those days are done.
Yes.
I mean, those days are so far gone and beyond us. I mean, and folks, if you're just joining us or as you're listening to this audio version, DeniseHoran.com, HORAN.com, salesclubusa.com. See what she's got going on. See what she has happening. If you have a sales team and you're looking for something, this is a great opportunity for you to sit down. If you're looking for a book to read, say stories from the sales field, navigating a sales career in a post-pandemic world, that's a book you can sit down and enjoy. And again, as I was saying, it's all done in a storytelling process. But what I liked personally as I was reading this is I liked at the end of each of the stories, lessons learned, sales tip, action plan. It wasn't just like, hey, let me tell you some funny things that happened for me when I was selling things. It actually had something at the end of it like, hey, like this one I just opened to. Know the worth of your time. It's okay to walk away and find a better prospect. Use your network and build it consistently. Go to an event where you know no one and talk to strangers. Out of this, you know what the hardest lesson in this one, I think for every salesperson is, and I'm notoriously bad with this. I've always been. I've got a sales career that's pretty long. It's okay to walk away and find a better prospect.
Yeah.
I think that's the greatest salespeople in the world know how to do that.
Yeah.
Those of us that are really, really good, struggle with it.
Yes. And you know what? It's okay. I'm going to give everyone permission. Just go and find yourself a replacement. And now I get a lot of calls because I know a lot of people and they'll ask me about something and I'll right away say, I don't know if I'm the right person for that. And I said, so let's talk. And it's almost like I want to be a match and I also want to be successful. I don't want to take on a project and have somebody say, oh, she didn't even help me. Right?
Because that doesn't help your reputation none.
No. So, you just want to be able to say, let's see if we could work together. And it's okay for a salesperson to do that as well. I think they would get a lot of respect right out of the gate.
That's I mean, I just think most salespeople, especially if you're newer, you're like, you're talking to me? We're talking. You're talking to me. You mean you didn't hang up? I said, what? And you're like, how did I say that they stayed on the phone with me? Shit, I got to say that again. And then when the person's like, okay, well, maybe we'll meet later. No. Stay with me. Stay with me. Nah, I think you're an asshole. No, but it's okay. You can call me names. Just stay with me and talk to me some more. Like, even though this person is, you don't want to deal with them. Like I can't tell you how many times I've had people where I'm like, I'm okay with losing this sale. Like I'm gonna walk away from this, or I'm gonna give you a number that either you're gonna say yes, and I'm gonna be like, you said yes to that, and I'm gonna be like, all right, well, I guess we'll work together. Or I'm gonna give you a number where you're gonna be like, I'm not dealing with that, and I'll be like, okay, I got out of this. Like I know a lot of salespeople that do that. I don't know if have you ever done that one, Denise, where you just like give them a number that you're like, there's no way they're taking this number.
Yeah.
Listen, folks, if your salesperson ever gives you a number that's so high into the right that you're like, you're crazy, I would never pay that. They don't want to work with you. I just told you a secret. They don't want to work with you, and they're trying to be, and they don't want to be mean to you either. What do you think?
Right.
Does that sound legit, Denise?
Yeah. It's all about how they feel about you. And if they trust you, that you're honest. right?
I'm talking about as a client. If you're a client,
Oh,
and they give you that crazy number.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. They're like, so you just need that $100,000. It's a pair of socks. $100,000 pair of socks. I don't know what to tell you. Either you're going to buy $100,000 pair of socks and they're going to be like, I guess we'll make you socks, or they're just trying to get away from you. It's the truth. Folks,
Yeah.
God, Denise, you and I could do this for hours.
Hours for sure. No, there's so many things. I just, I always have an open door. If somebody wants to talk to me, feel free to reach out. I mean, like I said, love to talk to people, and I'll hop on the screen and see how I can help you or direct you in the right spot if you want to get better, if you want a job in sales. I'm not a recruiter, but I love to talk to people about how they might be able to fit as a career. It's a great career.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, sales, correct me if I'm wrong, but last I looked at it, Denise, sales is still the highest paying career in the world.
Every single time there's the top, 20 best jobs, it's always in the top. So,
and here's another secret, folks. If you're currently working at Piercing Pagoda, Cell Phones Are Us, or one of these other things, and you're like, I'm selling, but I'm not making money. I learned this from a local company, very, very good sales teams, very good sales training, local here in the Capital District. The bigger the product is, or more expensive the product is, the better your commissions. So if you're really good out there, and I'm not saying anything bad about Piercing Pagoda or any of these cell phone stores, but if you're really good at that and you're like, hey, I'm selling, but I'm not making money, go check out DeniseHoran.com. Go check out SalesClubUSA.com. See what you need to do and translate that skill set of sales to go work somewhere that's going to pay you for your skills. Because again, you've heard Denise and I both say it. Sales is sales is sales is sales.
Right.
Only difference is your product knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And going on Sales Club USA, I know I may sound like a broken record, but I know Denise. I've known Denise now for a while. Trust me when I say it's an easy place to jump off and put both feet in the water and not feel like you dove in up to your neck. It's
exactly. Little bite-sized training and coaching and fun and stories and all that.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And look, folks, if you're finding me through Denise or Denise through me, make sure you're giving us a like, share, follow. It may sound cliche, but we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. We're on all those places. If you know somebody that you think would be a great guest and you want to get them onto the show, you can always reach out to me at the abovethebarpodcast.com. See what we've got going on there. We've got some shows coming up next week. It's Andrew. Love Andrew. Andre's last name, Andre Paradise. How great of a name is that, Andre?
Yeah.
Andre is a relationship coach. Hold on. I'm live right now, bro. What's up?
Has October 16th passed yet?
October 16th is not passed. This, folks, we were talking about this before the show, and Denise and I'll tell you something. So October 16th is not passed. I love you.
Wait, how long?
A couple months. It's the day before your brother's birthday. Listen, y'all can sit out there and say, oh, you're going to miss these days when they're young and they're little. Listen to me. I got 8 of them. I got 6 grandbabies. Listen, you ain't going to miss it. You're going to have grandbabies and you can be like, look, grandbabies. And I can give them back. I love my children. But listen to me. Honestly, if you're finding us through Denise through us, reach out. Come check us out next week. Again, we got Andre Paradise. He's a relationship coach. He's learning about humans and relationships in a dynamic worldwide. That fits right into sales. Listen to me. Sales is relationship building all day long. So make sure you're checking out what Denise has going on, what we have going on. Last 2 questions here for you, Denise, and then we'll get to going, but don't log off on me afterwards. We just got to talk for a moment. I don't know where Nate is right now. Nate normally pops up at some point, so I'll ask Nate. did you ever have when you were during those 12 years of those first 12 years, did you have your go-to, this is where when we hit our goal, if you had like goals, this was our go-to goal meal? Like, hey, we're going to go have blank. Did you have one?
That was funny. I mean, in the early days, I worked locally here in the capital region, but after about 2 years, I traveled around. I had a team. So I was all over the Northeast, and I had some favorite spots in different cities. But I was one of those people that would be like, hey, we made the goal. Let's go treat. Let's go treat ourselves out for a great dinner. I learned that mentally because that is part of sales. You treat yourself, you want a little more. But I think I got it from my boss, who would say, I can't believe you made that sale. You should go shopping. And I realized he wanted me to want more money.
That's it.
Yeah, it was mental.
That's it. All right. So here it is, Denise. Now you've binged a few episodes. You've been digging in. You know what's about to come up. The guest always gets the final word. So what's the final word tonight?
The final word is you love what you do. And if you don't love what you do, come and talk to me, because sales is a lifestyle. If you can talk to people, meet strangers, and solve problems, the world needs you, especially now. They really need good people out there. So I would do that. Also, put your efforts into self-development. Don't go stale.
Alrighty, folks. Keep going. You got something else?
No, go ahead.
Alrighty, folks. Be sure to push your stool. This has been a Second Front podcast presentation found on Apple, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found.